Was up? Back. Hajime no Ippo. The fighting. Round 7. The destructive force of 1 centimeter. The episode starts with a slight recap of the past episode. The first round to Miyata and Ippo's sparring rematch. They're both exhausted, tired. Ippo just barely got up from being doodled by Miyata. So they're both in the corner recovering. Miyata and his pops are talking about how they feel like they almost had it. If they could have, if Miyata says to himself, if I could have just stood a little bit firmer when Ippo hit me with that straight right, this would all be over. My counter punch would have been enough. So what do I have to do this coming round? He's trying to think, let me stay in it. This guy he's a completely different person than he was when I sparred him 3 months ago. So what do I have to do? What do I have to do? I have to find a way to get in it. I have to stay in it. And in Ippo's corner, Chief, what everybody calls Coach Kamigawa. So I'm finally part of the initiated. So Chief is talking to Ippo, and he's letting him know, man, you all right, kid? You barely made it there. He had to throw some water on Ippo's face to wake him up. And Ippo's like, wow, Miyata has great power. And I cannot believe Miyata's taking me seriously. So if he's taking me seriously, this is giving me the juicy energy to not lay down. I need to be worthy of him not taking me seriously. And he starts getting all energized and telling Chief, hey, I want to keep on getting up. I want to keep on fighting. I want to keep on pushing. That's just what I want to do. It's coming from his soul. It's like old Kanye samples. You feel me? And so Coach is taken back. He's like, well, okay, kid. He's like, well, let's go in there and, let's stir it up. And so second round, Ippo's going to go out there just as aggressive to start the round. He starts throwing his punches so he can get in close. And Miyata starts clinching. And Ippo's confused. Ippo's like, I thought you said you wanted to just fight straight up. Why are you clinching? Why are you changing strategies? So Ippo's trying to figure out what's going on. And meanwhile, both coaches, Miyata's pops and Chief, and Fuji the writer of the boxing magazine. And you hear Fuji with his inner dialogue, and he's saying how it's a smart move what Miyata's doing. Miyata suffered a lot of damage, and he still hadn't quite recovered. And so, with him clinching, he's stepping in, he's keeping Ippo from delivering his uppercut, and at the same time, he's allowing himself to recover, to get his breath back, to get his legs back. And he does that for the entire second round. And so Ippo goes back to his corner confused, and Miyata goes back to his corner with his pops, basically letting them know, all right, his uppercut is a monster, but he can't do his uppercut if I step in, if I'm constantly stepping into him, if I'm taking away all that space, and that's what the clinching is for. And so he gets up for the third round, and they're both, all right, ready to go. Ippo's ready for his attack mode, and Miyata has a different look in his eye. He's not as exhausted anymore. He's in attack mode. He's clearly figured something out. He's kind of changed up his stance and his footwork. So Ippo's trying to adjust to it. And so Ippo's trying to go in, and Miyata goes in real fast, cracks him, and then backs out. It's called the hitting away technique. Chief, Fuji, Miyata's pops, they all mention it. And Miyata's going in, bopping Ippo, going back out so he can't get hit. And so he keeps doing that. And he knows he's not going to hit him with any knockout power And I think Kimura and Aoki are on the side watching, and Kimura mentions this, is that none of those punches are going to knock him out, but what they're going to do is they're going to cause damage to his body with this barrage of punches he keeps hitting him with. And what he does is he takes out Ippo's legs. So all the damage Ippo was suffering, having his guard up and not being able to counter or attack Miyata, he takes his legs away. Ippo is so exhausted, his legs, they can't attack anymore, which is Ippo's MO. Attack, go forward, go in boxer so you can get in and get those power punches. And Miyata sees that his legs aren't moving, and Miyata goes in, whop, 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 jumbles all this up, scrambles all this up. And Ippo loses his mouthpiece. The screen goes to a red filter. He's falling. And the interesting thing I noticed about Ippo compared to any of the other fighters, which there hasn't been many up to this point with our reviews, us together exploring the art, but having seen future episodes, seeing how those fighters react as well when they get knocked down or seemingly knocked out, other thoughts are running through their head. Ippo only has one thought going through his head when somebody hits him. That's no, that's don't quit, that's stay, I don't want to stop, no. That's all he thinks about. He don't think about, uh-oh. He don't think about, is this it? He don't think about, I can't go anymore. He's like, just don't stop. Oh, just don't stop. Just the whole time, he's feeding himself the message. Don't quit. Get up. Before he's even hit the floor from getting knocked out, he's already telling himself, get up. And so, bam, Ippo hits the ground. Everybody thinks it's over. Miyata does a victory pose, because it's gotten a little scary. He had to really come up with some stuff. There was a chance he might lose. So he goes back to his corner, and Miyata's pops is like, wow, I've never seen you do a victory pose before. What's gotten into you? And Miyata's like, yeah, I didn't even plan for it. I'm surprised it happened too. I guess because of his punches, you can be taken out by one of them, that the tension is so high. And he mentions that he enjoys the tension. Then his coach, his pops, which I love, mentions how, yes, this is perfect experience as a professional boxer. When you can be the predator or the prey, that means you're at that level, that professional level. You're a true pro, which I'm assuming Miyata hadn't experienced up to this point. Everybody seemed shocked he was knocked down. Everybody seemed shocked 3 months ago that he was even touched in sparring by Ippo. So he seemed to not have a perfect run, but his trajectory seemed to be doing this, just constantly this. It didn't seem like he was never good enough. And finally, he's had some competition, some experience that is going to mirror and parallel what he'll experience in the professional level, which is you and the fighter across from you both have a chance to win. You both have a chance to win. Go ahead, bro. And so that's in Miyata's corner. And Ippo, Takamura's counting, and Ippo's just, and everybody's shocked because Ippo finally gets to his knees. And then he just finally rises up. He's barely there. He's wobbling. You know what I'm saying? He's like, If it was like the Acme cartoons, like Looney Tunes, you have the Tweety birds around his, like, barely there, right? But he's getting it. And he makes it just by the count. And Miyata's like, oh, I see blood in the water. Let's go. And Takamura's like, fight. And Miyata's like, ah. And then the bell rings, ding, round over. And Takamura got to jump in because, Miyata finna go in and finish work on Ippo. So Takamura's like, oh, hold on. Round's over. Go back to your corners. And Miyata knows. He's like, all right, this is it. This is when I got to take him out. And Chief is talking to Ippo, and Chief tells Ippo, hey, kid, we just saw him counter your uppercut in the past episode. So we know he has that in check. Anytime you want to do your uppercut, he can read it. He's mastered it. He has taken your legs away. So our strategy for attacking, taking a mano-a-mano, it's not effective anymore, kid. basically he's gonna take you out, but he's saying that kind of in his head too. And Ippo's like, Coach, I had no idea I could get this far. I knocked him down twice. You know what? Since I'm fighting, I think I just kind of want to win. I want to try to win. Is that weird, Coach? And Coach is like, all right, kid, come on. You gonna try to go for it? And Ippo's like, yeah, I want it. I've got one more thing to do, Coach. And Coach is like, all right, do your thing. You got unfinished business. Go ahead, handle that business. You hear me? You hear me? He wasn't going all that. Maybe in his head, but on the outside, he was like, okay, kid. So Ippo goes back out there. Legs gone. Knows the uppercuts in check. So Miata comes out attacking. Boom. This is the first round that Miata comes out like Ippo. He comes out. He knows. He's like, you know, like a National Geographic when there's like a wounded prey. I don't know, a wounded gazelle or whatever. And then all of a sudden a tiger or... See, I don't even know if they're in the same habitat. So forgive me for my ignorance. But when a predator catches a hurt prey and gets him in his sights and then just wants to take him out, that was Miata. Right up on Ippo. Wow, 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 wow. Ippo's on the ropes, but he's not doing the rope-a-dope because the rope-a-dope is basically to tire out the opponent so much, which I learned from Muhammad Ali, tired out George Foreman so much so that way when finally he ran his gas tank out, then he could be on the offensive. You just have to weather the storm. What Ippo was doing, Ippo, boom, whoa, whoa, whoa. Miata was breaking down his defenses, breaking down his guard. And then after a while, his punches starting to get through. You start to get tired, your arms start to slip. And Ippo starts getting cracked. And then he gets hit, boom, one time. And I'm not sure if he kind of allowed himself to lose balance or if this is just, or lose balance, kind of lean over like he took a punch harder than he did. Or if he just actually took that punch as hard as it was, I guess. But what he did was, the whole time he's waiting for a stop in the barrage. Miata's hitting him with a barrage of punches, and Ippo is trying to look for just a gap, just a little bit of space, and he finds it. So Ippo goes to punch, and Miata's like, oh, he's getting ready to come with the right. I'm gonna just dodge left, and then I'm gonna hit him with this counter punch. But he, at the last second, he notices Ippo's not hitting him with the straight right. He's hitting him with an uppercut with no motion, no tell, no giveaway. He just, boom, and just cracked Miata just a little bit by the chin, just dink. And they both thought he missed. We all thought he missed. And so now, of course, Ippo's in this position. His guard's down. He's exposed. So Miata's like, yeah, this is my chance. Man, this dude almost had me beat. I'm about to take him. And as soon as he's getting ready to hit, Miata's legs go out. And Miata hits the floor. And Ippo was ready. Ippo was like, oh, no, I'm done for. And Miata's on the ground. And they're like, oh, what happened? Did he slip? And Takamura starts counting. And they're like, wait, is he down? And the coaches, you know, the different characters are saying what they know is happening in their heads. And they're like, wow, he actually did connect. When you connect a punch to the chin, you can rattle the brain to where it causes temporary functional impairment. So basically, you're not getting that signal to your legs to get up. He's not knocked out. He knows he wants to get up, but his legs aren't moving. And you don't know this until Miata's trying to get up. He's like, yeah, okay, I got it. And the count hits 4, and he gets ready to stand up, and he's like, his knee is shaking, and his pops is like, Miata, or Ichiro. That's his first name, I think. Or, yeah, I'm not but I don't think they think about names in Japan the way we do. That there's a first and a last like that. Because I was even looking at I got some studying and some researching to do. Because you got Miata-kun, Ippo-kun, then you got Fuji-san. So I got to learn with the the proper greetings and titles, or at least the correct one, so I'm not confusing everybody. But basically, they're all saying that Ippo and Miyata's still able to do talk and stuff, but he just can't move his legs. And Takamura's counting down, and everybody's getting more and more shocked. Like, oh my gosh, is Miyata not getting up? And Miyata's like, stop, okay, Takamura, chill. I'm getting up, dog. I'm getting up. I'm trying to. And the legs ain't working. And at the end, you see Miyata 9, and he's and he's still on the ground. 10. Ippo, the winner! Oh, snap! Ippo got the W, dog. The 3-month training, hellfest that was Chief's training. Coach K's training, you feel me? Coach Kamigawa, KBG. And Ippo came out on top, dude. 3 months ago, he looked like he didn't belong in the same gym room as Miyata. And he beat him with a KO. So, of course, Miyata's stunned. He walks out the ring, disappointed. Ippo sees this, and Ippo wants to be friends with Miyata. He messes with Miyata, right? Miyata even helped him, remember, with the boxing shoes, and Ippo goes to try to talk to Miyata, and Miyata's pops steps in front of him so he can allow his son to go to the locker room, but also to greet Ippo and let him know, congratulations, you worked very hard. But you can tell by obviously the way he kind of stepped in front of Ippo that, basically he didn't say it, but it's like, Miyata needs time. I know you won and you don't want him to be sad, but he just lost to you. And you just started boxing 3 months ago. He didn't say all this, but clearly this is what he's kind of letting him know. Just give my son some time. And Chief, and this is hilarious because this is what I love about Chief. Chief is so tough, right? He has a cane. He's always trying, making sure he's enforcing the rules, and you got to be disciplined. And he is so excited that he immediately goes to Ippo and is like, kid, great job with the mental toughness and staying tough, but you need to work on your technique. Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow. We're going to resume our killer training, and we're going to go harder than before. You ready? And by the time he even gets to finish what he's saying, Ippo was knocked out on the ground. He's knocked out, tired, exhausted, done skis. You know what I'm saying? 5 minutes in the microwave, too much. It was just 90-minute rice. You feel me? He's overcooked. And then Coach kind of feels some way about it because he's like, dang, I got a little too excited. He is a human after all. Maybe he needs some rest. So Coach, feeling embarrassed, kind of goes out the way to so he doesn't seem like he's being cruel or naggy or not being too hard on the kid. He just won. He won. He did it. Well, they all helped him do it. And Fuji looks over at Takamura, and Takamura's taking his tie off because, he's the ref looking fresh. And he gives Fuji a look, and Fuji smiles. Now, I think, and this is just my theory, I don't know if this is in the manga. I don't know if this could just definitely not be the case. But the theory I have, because they exchanged that look, I think that comes from Takamura telling Fuji in the previous episode in the beginning, letting the beans spill out the bag, or basically letting Fuji know that Miyata was getting ready to have a sparring match with another young, promising fighter. And he was kind of giving him the, thank you, I know what you did there. Like, you purposefully told me about Ippo and Miyata, but that's because you knew Ippo had something to offer too. And so it's kind of like but also a theory of mine is, or an actual theory of mine, is that maybe Takamura contacted Fuji in the first place. Maybe he knows him from maybe previous stories he's written of Takamura. I wouldn't be surprised if he wrote about Takamura, especially when Takamura is starting. He seems like he's the prodigy of the gym. He's the guy. He's the main character of KBG, the one that's destined for the world title. So I can't see why, if they want someone to cover the world title match, I'm sure they're covering contenders. So I'm sure Takamura and Mr. Fuji have a relationship already. Or at least that's what I'm assuming. And so I'm thinking maybe with Takamura being so excited, and which I love, they don't show it all the time or never, but their actions show that they're so excited for Ippo, dude. So I'm thinking Takamura's like, yo, Miyata, I've been watched him. We know he's a prodigy. I think Ippo has something that he can rival Miyata. And I think both of these fighters need, I think this match needs to be seen. This is like the beginning of a Clash of the Titans type deal. So I think he maybe contacted Fuji and was like, look, that tired world title boxing match, the world champion's defending his title against the challenger. We know both of them is going to get kabladadowed by your boy when the time is right. You know, the challenger ain't it. So come through to KBG. We got a little match going. So, and come through and see Miyata. Maybe he doesn't even tell him about Ippo, since Fuji doesn't know anything about Ippo. He kind of is like, oh, who's this kid he's fighting? There's two of them. There's two golden eggs. So just a theory. He's like, hey, just come through the world title. Just give him a nudge. Obviously, Fuji looks like he don't care what his editor-in-chief say. He gonna do what he do. He marched to the beat of his own drum. So maybe that theory is kind of taking away some characterization from Fuji, because it's probably more, he becomes more of a full character if he's the one that's on marching to the beat of his own drum, which they mention, because any other writer would be over at the world title fight and at the press conference, and he's over at a gym that nobody's talking about with two up-and-coming fighters, not even licensed, not even professional boxers yet. And it's a sparring match. So, yeah, that is a theory that I've thought, but I think I'm okay with setting it aside to make sure Mr. Fuji has the full characterization, because I like that. I like the idea of marching to the beat of your own drum. A lot of these characters are, so why take that away from Mr. Fuji? So, but even though that theory probably no longer applies, because I don't want it to take the richness away from Mr. Fuji's character, I do think it opens up a theory that Mr. Fuji and Takamura do have a relationship, and that I enjoy. I can keep that part of the theory. I'd like that, you know, that they have a rapport. Like I said, I think Fuji has written stories about Takamura before, especially if he does up and coming boxers. But I don't know. I have to go back and watch the episode, because if he introduced himself to Mr. Yagi, then maybe he hasn't been to that gym before. But he's seen Miyata. Maybe it's just formal. He just always goes in there and introduces himself. Maybe the times he's been there, Mr. Yagi hasn't been there. That's a possibility. It wasn't like everybody didn't know who he was. So yeah, interesting. And so I don't even think I got to the end of the episode. So I was talking about how Mr. Fuji and Takamura gave each other that look. So that was that whole theory time. I just did theory time. TT. Sorry. And so they cut to Miyata in the shower, and he hasn't taken off his hand wraps. He hasn't taken off his shirt. He hasn't taken off none of his clothes. The only thing he's taken off is probably his shoes, his boxing shoes. And he's in the shower, and he's just leaning up against the wall of the shower, just devastated, like crying, you know. Maybe even trying to hide the tears with the shower. Sorry, my midnight trying to come through, you know. She's the princess, so, you know, I got to, whenever she's trying to come through, I got to, like, lower the gate for her to come through. That's my job, to let her in and out the house whenever she want to. Sorry, a little tangent. I love her. I love it. It's my duty. So, Miyata's crushed. And that's what I like about the show as well, that they don't just focus on just trying to be positive or up or things are always good. It's like, no, this is boxing. This is a competition. And like life, there's always balance. And there's very rarely when somebody wins, is there not a loser or someone that's down or sad or disappointed or crushed. So I'm glad they took time to be with Miyata. We got to learn about why he does it. And so you hurt with him. You're happy for Ippo. You're shocked. You can't believe it happened. But you also hurt for Miyata. Because, you know, he wants it too. And he's not a bad person. Like I said, I mean, he didn't even have to help Ippo when he helped him buy the right boxing shoes. And he still would have been a good person. He still would have been no blemish on his record. But that's who he is. He's like, you know what, dude? Like, let me help him out. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Now he knows. Now he knows. He knows. He knows. He knows. So, Miyata, you hurt. But as life, the balance of feeling good for one reason and feeling bad for another, and embracing those just as equally and strongly, and continuing to move forward. And what can you do to get better? How can you turn the positive into even more positive? And how can you turn this negative into some energy to fuel the positive? It's like taking all the negative and putting it in the flux capacitor and in the DeLorean, so we can use it and turn it into positive time jumping or whatever, what have you. I'm everywhere. The reference God. No. But then they cut to the newspaper building. I don't know what do you call it, but it's where Fuji works, and the magazine company, the journalism department. I'm struggling with that, but where people write and make calls and get information so they can do more writing to make articles about whatever they're making articles about. This is the boxing magazine. And Fuji is, you hear a bunch of phone calls happening in the background. And Fuji's called up and he's talking to Chief and Mr. Yagi at KBG. And this is like later on that night. And he's sharing with them, faxing them over a picture. And he's like, look, I have my camera going. And it had like the motor thing where it takes a whole bunch of pictures just by pressing the button once. And Fuji tells, and obviously shows through the fax, Chief and Mr. Yagi that he got a great picture of Ippo getting that 1 centimeter uppercut, you feel me, to Miyata. And they both talk about how, the destructive force of 1 centimeter, and how despite Miyata getting nicked and being technically KO'd, it's thankful that Miyata had the high level defense and quickness, that he could defend and dodge that uppercut as much as he did. Because if he wasn't as fast as lightning, he would have gotten destroyed. And it's like, wow. So it would have been a lot worse if Miyata's defense, his discipline, his work ethic, it kept him from some serious damage that we come to find out. And Fuji tells Coach and Mr. Yagi, I'm looking forward to seeing Ippo's future as a boxer. I am a fan, not just as a writer, but just as a boxing fan. I am excited to watch him. Do your best with him, Coach. Click. And it's like, wow. And so Mr. Yagi and Chief are talking, looking at the picture, and Chief is like, The audacity of the kid to use that punch. I didn't teach him that punch. To do an uppercut with no motion, with no tell, he could have hurt his hand. And Mr. Yagi starts laughing. And Chief is like, what? And Mr. Yagi's like, nothing. But in his head, Mr. Yagi is like, ugh, I haven't seen Chief this excited in so long. This is clearly great times at KBG. And that's it. We go over to the Makunouchi fishing rental boat house, business / house. And he's in his room. And he is excited, man. He can't go to sleep. He is gleeful. He thinks back to when Takamura raised his hand and he's like, yes, I did it. I did it. The training was so tough for 3 months, but we did it. And then now he can't go to sleep. He's so happy he can't go to sleep. And that's how it ends. He struggles trying to go to sleep. One thing I love about that ending, because there's been times where it wasn't a happy struggle. It was like anxiety, fear, struggle. A lot of us have experienced that when we can't go to sleep because something is just on our mind that's messing with us. That's clearly gaining the upper hand. And I love the joke of life. The other side of that, putting up all that discipline, crushing yourself, putting yourself through all that toughness, constantly pushing your limits and their abilities and your mind and gaining that mental callous. The other side of that is it's the same experience in terms of not being able to sleep. It's just you're so elated, you're so elevated, you're so happy, you're so high with the pure good feeling of knowing that you counted on yourself, you came through, and you did more, and you do that all the time. And then for it to show specifically in a match or culminating in an event, the joke of life. So it's not necessarily the fear of not being able to go to sleep. It's the fear of why we all can't go to sleep. Because yes, I thought about it and it's like, I would love to be so happy I couldn't go to sleep. Man, there have been times where I was so happy that I was in bed that it took me a while to go to sleep because I was just, it's like, when you walk outside, and you just look at the trees and the sky and you just take a deep breath and take it all in. That's how it was. I was just in bed laying there, just kind of taking inventory of my entire body and just, this is just amazing. This sleep is just, a bed, a pillow, covers, a house. I was just taking it all in. And so that's what I thought was interesting about that last moment, about not being able to sleep. Because there are other times he couldn't sleep, but he was nervous that can I do enough? Am I going to be able to do enough? I'm anxious to see what the challenge is, how I'm going to be able to push myself. Will I be able to make it? I'm so exhausted. He's had so many different reasons leading up to this version of not being able to sleep. And none of them were pleasant. Whereas this one, he couldn't go to sleep. He doesn't want to be late for school tomorrow. He wants to get his rest. But he had a smile on his face, boy. So I dug that. I thought that was sick. All right, let's see. So that was the destructive force of 1 centimeter. Amazing round 7. The culmination, the peak of the 3-month rematch between Ippo, 3 months since the first fight, with the rematch with Ippo and Miyata. And it exceeded expectations. Let's see. Do I have any notes about? Oh, one thing I really dug about this episode, the way Fuji thinks. He showed it in the last episode. He shows it in this episode. When he sees things, he doesn't just take them for face value. He thinks about them a little deeper. He goes behind the curtain or underneath the surface level of the water to see more of the iceberg. In the sense, the last episode was around 6 when we were seeing Ippo use different footwork that no one else had seen before. and then Fuji put together. So yes, Miyata is skillful, and he digs into his bag of tools and skills, and yes, that shows how great he is and how great he's been. But also, if he's doing something he hasn't done before, it's because his opponent is making him. Like, he's not out here just like freestyling, having fun. Let me just see what I want to do for fun. It's like he's being made to do this. They're boxing. This is a real match. So that type of thinking, I think is pretty cool. It's pretty dope. I'm trying to think, what else did he? Well, in seeing the clinch, and now obviously he's a boxing magazine writer, so he's seen probably, who knows, untold number of matches live, training, sparring sessions, was it boot camps, fighting camps, different types of styles. So I'm sure all that applies to his Rolodex, his encyclopedia knowledge of boxing. But also, he doesn't mind, like I said, thinking creatively, seeing things as, all right, so if this is happening, then what's around it? Why is this happening? Is this being affected? How is it affecting this? So I like the way Fuji thinks. He got the devil may care, you know what I'm saying? I'm just out here just doing my job. I'm just doing my thing. Yeah, Fuji swag. I dig Fuji swag. I ain't gonna lie, Fuji's kind of close to what I want to be. A writer. He tells stories. It's hard not to tell a story with boxing, I'm sure. To just try to talk about boxing and not accidentally tell a story, because it's such a going up against the odds for almost everyone involved. Because facing yourself and your toughness is the hardest thing to do for any of us, whether you're a boxer or not. And let's see, I don't know if I have to see any more. Let's see. I think that's about it. Yeah. So the destructive force of 1 centimeter. Again, check out the art. Oh, I guess life lessons. So life lessons, I guess just stay in the fight. I'm sure Ippo didn't know he was gonna win with a 1 centimeter uppercut, or that he was even capable, or that he would even work. But just constantly staying in the fight. That seems like the one skill that Ippo has, is just constantly telling himself. It's not even necessarily doing it. The skill is that he's always just telling himself, stay in the fight, keep going, stay in the fight, keep going, stay in the fight. Stay in the fight, keep going. Don't worry about how you're being seen. Don't try to, I don't know, save face. Who cares about any of that? Just stay in the fight. Keep fighting. Stay in the fight. Can you push? Can you push? Oh, keep going. I know it's tough. Oh, it's slowing you down, but then can you push? Can you keep going? I mean, that's almost the life lessons for every episode, huh? But I don't mind getting that reminder every episode. Are you kidding me? I can definitely use it. We can all definitely use positive messaging to keep moving forward in our minds every day. I see nothing wrong with that. But yeah, also looking at it from Miyata's perspective, it's tough. It's tough to put super hard work into what you're doing and then still lose, or still not reach the goal that you plan to. So I guess it's the toughness of keeping your head. Even when you lose, even when it looks like you're out, even when it looks like you're done and it's over and you're not going to make it, keep your head and keep moving forward, whatever that means. Oh, and a little part I left out of the episode. So after Chief and Mr. Yagi finished talking to Fuji about the facts of the picture he sent over of Ippo just nicking Miyata in the chin with that uppercut, that 1 centimeter uppercut. After they get off the phone, Miyata's pops walks in and he says, Chief, the truth is, and we don't hear what else he says, but he clearly went in there to speak to the chief about something. And so I'm guessing we'll see the result of that later. But And probably it has something to do with how the match went, how the sparring match went. But anytime you lose or anytime you get disappointed or fall or fail, those first steps are hard. Those first decisions back are hard. They're tough. But that's what all this is about. Working so when we get to those tough times, we can still make the decision to move forward, to stay the course, to keep going, to stay in the fight, whatever that fight is for us. If it changes, it changes. If it's forced to change, whatever the case is, stay in the fight. Keep believing. So it's tough. I might fail today. I will fail today. And I already know what I'm going to do. When I fail, I already know what's going to happen. The whole time I'm thinking, keep going, keep moving forward, just keep moving, keep going. Yep, nope. Use all the energy, your whole entire body, whatever you got to do, mental faculties, all the mental power, all the brain power, whatever, creativity, spirit, soul. That's all that's all available to me to use. Use all the energy from all those storage tanks. Just throw it in there. Throw it in there. I want to barely be able to walk on my way to bed. I want to be able to just, I put it on the line today. So yeah, that's what I take from it. A similar message, but again, if it speaks to me and it's the truth for me and it works for me to keep me at my best, my most positive, at my best for my loved ones, then I'm going to do it. All right, y'all, let's push. Round 8 coming. Push, one step. Have a good Saturday. Keep pushing, push. Just keep going. Just keep going. Yep, one more step. Just read one more word. Just read one more word. One more sentence. Just one more line. Just read it one more time. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just write. Write a sentence. Write a poem. Write a paragraph. Just write something. Just write the ABCs. Just write what's in your head. Write words. Write randomness. Just get to creating something. Keep going. Whatever it is. What you doing? Keep going. Just a little bit longer. Oh, fuck. A little bit more patient. Just a little bit more calm. Zen. Breathe. Keep going. Keep going, Mr. Anderson.